What's up and welcome to FPL Today. I'm your host JNO, welcome to the channel and welcome to Ones to Watch for Game Week 5, where I pick 5 players that I think everyone should be keeping their eyes on for their Fantasy Premier Leagues to get the most points and shoot us up those rankings. But before we get into today's episode, if you love FPL content and you want some more in your subscription box and you're new around here, consider subscribing to the channel and also hit that notification bell so you know when my videos are going live. So on with the video, and today we have 5 players, some of whom I think are pretty much known FPL royalty almost, and we have some players that have really stood out in Game Week 4, and if they can keep that form up and if we keep an eye on them, they could be integral to our success in the Fantasy Premier League season this year. The first one we're going to look at is the striker for this Ones to Watch video, and it is of course Harry Kane. He's now gone back up to 12.5 million, although I believe the graphic will say 12.4 because I've already done the graphic, so apologies for that. But because he's now back on form, his price is of course going to fluctuate as a lot of people bring him in. So far this season he's been very disappointing until that Everton game, but we need to look at that Everton defence and how they performed recently, and then how they performed against Spurs, and potentially that means Spurs could be a really good attacking threat, especially with their fixtures as they are for the up and coming month. So Harry Kane looks very promising to me, and I'm glad I've kept him, although I kind of wish I didn't have him in August and now transferred him in because I would have saved 0.1 million on him. However, so far this season he's got 2 goals, of course both of them were against Everton. No assists so far, but he's had 28 attempts on goal, 21 of which have come from inside the box. He's had 4 big chances as well. He's just not been on form because it's August. And his minute per chance is actually at 12.7, so he's getting plenty of chances, and he's now got Swansea, West Ham and Huddersfield in the next 3. They all look like fixtures Harry Kane could have an absolute field day in. So Harry Kane is my one to watch if you haven't already brought him in, because you may need to have him to even consider being in the top 100k. The next player we're going to look at is Maxim ChoupoMoting, and I've not written that whole name on the graphic because it would have taken up too much space, but coming at 5.5 million in that Man United versus Stoke game, he looked absolutely incredible. He seemed to run the show and managed to get 2 goals, getting a great point haul for a fixture that many would have assumed would be very difficult for Stoke. If he can keep that form up, and if this is the player he can become, he could be an absolute steal at 5.5 million. He could be the Joshua King of last year or the Riyad Mahrez of the year before. That was his best game, however, so he's not scored before that game. He's only got 2 goals this season so far, but he's now had 12 attempts, 9 of which have come from inside the box and 3 have been on target. His minute per chance is at 24 minutes, and with Newcastle, Chelsea and Southampton, if we forget that Chelsea game, although he did manage to score against Man United twice, those fixtures look like they could be favourable for him, and who doesn't want a 5.5 million player that can bang in the goals? The other midfielder we're looking at is also a cheap midfielder, and if he or Maxim ChoupoMoting can continue their form, they could be vital to our seasons, and this one is Pascal Gross from Brighton for 5.4 million as of the time of recording this. So far this season he's got 2 goals and 1 assist, but all of those came in Game Week 4. Now if he can continue that form, and that's why he's one to watch, and do it more than 1 game week in every say 4, he could be a massive player for us in the Fantasy Premier League. He's created 7 chances so far, but he hasn't created any big chances, so the assists is a little bit of a worry at the moment. However, last season for Ingolstadt, who weren't a great side in the Bundesliga by any stretch of imagination, he did create the 2nd most chances in the league, so it's definitely a player that could create lots of chances despite his surroundings. His minutes per chance created is at 47.3 minutes, so we'd like to see that number rise again, but with that kind of point haul, he's of course going to be one to watch for the up and coming game weeks. With Bournemouth, Newcastle and Arsenal in the next 3 fixtures, those first 2 look like ones where he could continue that form and he could be a big player for us. Moving on to the defenders, and Ben Davies, 5.7 million now, and I dropped him because I listened to too many people telling me he is a rotation risk. Yes, he may be a rotation risk when Danny Rose comes in, but I can respond to that when it happens, and I wish I had, because I missed out on a lot of points by transferring him out for Phil Jones. I'm just really disappointed about that. This season he has scored 1 goal and got 2 assists. He's had 6 attempts on goal, 3 of which have come from inside the box, 3 of them have been on target. He's created 13 chances from the left back position, and he creates a chance every 26.9 minutes. And with Swansea, West Ham and Huddersfield, just like Harry Kane, I think Ben Davies could be bringing in a lot more points, especially with Danny Rose still on the fringes because of his injury and because of how he's been behaving regarding the pay packets at Tottenham Hotspurs. And then the final option is someone that you could bring in instead of Marcus Alonso from the Chelsea side. We've spoken about David Luiz when I spoke about defenders in general, but coming out of Game Week 4, it looks like Cesar Azpilicueta at 6.5 million could be a great option for you this season. You'd be saving 0.6 million, and so far this season he's got no goals, but he has got 2 assists. He's created 4 chances for his teammates, but 3 of them have been big chances. So far, he's got a minute per chance creation of 90 minutes, which isn't amazing, but the types of chances he's creating and the way he put that ball in for Morata, maybe he could be one that can contend with Marcus Alonso, but we'll have to wait and see about that. However, the fixture list is not kind for Chelsea in the next 3, with Arsenal, Stoke and Man City, so that is the player with the hardest fixtures, but he definitely could be a decent alternative to the likes of Marcus Alonso. Anyway guys, thank you so much for tuning into this ones to watch video as always. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, it helps me out so much, and also check out the links in the description if you want to support the channel in any way. Hopefully when this video goes out, we'll be very close to 4,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for all the support. I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.